Welcome, everybody, and welcome to Damon Stoudamire, the head men's basketball coach, Bradley Davis, the head coach of the women's team. First team all-conference players, Jahlil Tripp and Brooklyn McDavid. Brooklyn, you're quarantined in Hawaii right now?
Yes.
Which island, if I may ask?
Oahu. I'm in Kaneoke.
Okay. That's not a terrible place to be. I was actually supposed to come home from Hawaii today, and the wedding got canceled. So what are you going to do? But I hope all of our viewers and listeners are doing well. I'm going to go one by one with the coaches and the student athletes and just ask everybody how their families are doing, if you guys are healthy, and I'll start with Coach Stoudamire.
Yes, everybody's well. Got through it trying to listen to our leaders, stay in the house and walk in the backyard every now and again and go get some essentials every now and again. And, just everybody on this chat know me. I'm to myself anyway, so this is a great time.
Coach Davis, how about you?
Yeah, everybody's healthy, kind of hunkered down at home. We had a couple players that were here, but most have taken off for home, including our international players have gone home. They're going to be studying from abroad. So everybody's healthy, and like Coach Stoudamire said, we're just hunkering down and trying to do what we've been told.
Brooklyn, how's Hawaii right now for you?
It's been great. I just go on walks, hike up and down the mountain here. I walk on the beach sometimes, even though we're not technically not allowed to. And I come back, same thing every day. I watch my little brother too. That's pretty much it.
Nice. Jahlil, I know a lot of your family's in New York. New York's kind of been a hot spot. Is everybody okay over there?
Yeah, everybody's safe over there. Everybody just been staying in the house, homeschooling my little sister and brother right now. So everybody's safe though.
Good. Everybody stay safe and stay healthy. I'm going to get into some elements of the season here shortly, but first I want to say congratulations to Coach Stoudamire. Yesterday it was announced you won the Ben Jobe Award presented to the top minority coach at the D1 level. And Coach, you look at some of the names that were up for this award. I mean, among them, Anthony Grant from Dayton. You had Ed Cooley from Providence, and you were chosen as the winner. Congratulations. What does the award mean to you?
It's an honor. The names on that list speak for itself. Know a lot of the guys on that list. Actually went to Hawaii with Coach Cooley and was in Hawaii with Coach Cooley last year. But it means a lot. It's an honor. It's an honor to receive that award. It's an honor to, I knew Coach Jobe. I've had the honor of speaking with him numerous occasions. But more importantly, the crazy thing about it, just kind of backstory, there was a guy when I was a rookie in the NBA, and probably most of the people on here will probably have to Google the name. But I'm talking to this guy when I was in training camp. He sat next to me every day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and nature. And he was talking about basketball. He was talking about playing with speed. But he was an older guy. I had no clue who he was. I just didn't know. I had no clue. And so probably at about 3 days of him sitting by me, I went up and I asked Isaiah Thomas. I said, man, who is this older guy that's talking to me every single day? And it was a guy by the name of John McClendon. And John McClendon is one of the pioneers, in basketball for minorities. He was Ben Jobe's mentor, and he was rumored. We don't know because obviously we wasn't around, but to had started the Four Corners. Dean Smith supposedly stole the Four Corners from him, and I had the honor to be around him and talk to him. It's just kind of ironic to win that award and to actually know Ben, but then to know the guy that kind of taught him the game. So, kind of went full circle, but it's an honor. And if I can have half of the success of the guys on that list, man, I'll be all right.
Well, I think you're well on your way to that, and certainly you're well deserving. And since you're rolling here, I'm going to start with you, and then I'm going to go to Coach Davis. I want to start with closure, because I don't think anybody really had a chance to get a sense of closure this season. That goes for you guys, for your athletes, and for the fans. Coach Stoudamire, was there a postseason invitation on the table for your team that won 23 games?
We were waiting to see what was going to happen with the NIT, but yeah, we probably would have been in postseason. We hadn't committed past the NIT, but we obviously were going to have the opportunity, and we were sticking around here, and we had worked out a couple of days, light workouts, and just kind of was waiting to see what was going to happen. And then on that Thursday, when they canceled the NCAA, I just said, that season probably over, because if they canceled the NCAA, well, I'm sorry, I don't even know if they canceled the NCAA. When I seen them cancel the NBA, I was like, this is over.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, I just kind of had in my mind that basketball is going to be laid to rest for a while, and obviously it was. But yeah, we were going to be in postseason play. We were hoping NIT, didn't really know, but from there, we was just going to see, and both of the tournaments, CBI, CIT, they both had reached out and everything, but we were hoping for NIT, but like I said, obviously everything being cut short, we didn't have it.
Coach Davis, how about you guys? Your team went 17-14, and that certainly fits the criteria for a postseason berth. Did anybody reach out to you, or were you anticipating getting invited somewhere?
Yeah, we knew we were on the bubble there for the WNIT because we were in the preseason. We kind of had an open line of communication early with them. So from everything they said, we were in strong consideration, and we were planning on coming back to practice that Saturday before Selection Monday. When we found out, a couple days prior, WNIT reached out to us, individually as well, saying that they were canceling. So we were hopeful, and things were looking pretty good, but it's one of those things where, like Coach was talking about, as seasons started getting canceled across the board in the professional ranks, the writing was on the wall there for the NCAA and the postseason for women's basketball and men's basketball.
This will be for both the coaches, and I know this is kind of a broad crisis with so many people being impacted. I'll start with Coach Davis. It is a grand scale crisis, and there's a lot more important elements to it than basketball. But was it tough for you not to have that sense of closure? Like, did you feel like there was another chapter to be written in this season for you, Coach Davis?
It's just different. Yeah. We felt like towards the end of the year, even with some injuries, we started to get a little bit more of a flow in certain aspects of the game. And then when you have the possibility of continue playing and you're hopeful to just kind of make a run and practice again in Spanos and do those kinds of things, it makes for just a sudden end that you're not quite prepared for when you've had some success throughout the regular season. So yeah, it's definitely different. And at the same time, we have to shift gears very quickly and start thinking about health and thinking about our players individually and thinking about housing and where people are. So it was a very sudden shift of hopeful to play and then just trying to figure out, okay, what's next.
Coach Stoudamire, I know among other things, you're obviously a hoops junkie and you're a historian of the game. So I think you of a lot of people like to go back and kind of look at the way things played out over the years. Do you feel a little bit cheated to not see as a whole how the season would play out for the entire sport, for both the NCAA and for the NBA potentially?
Well, obviously, NCAA, I think on the men's side, this was probably about as wide open as it has ever been. At least back to I can remember. I think maybe when Butler and Duke played in the championship game, that's probably 10, 15 years ago, however long that was. But, yes, from that standpoint, obviously was looking forward to, seeing that and then seeing wherever it was we were going to go, obviously, because, that would have been, a big notch under our belt to play in postseason. And as everything went, though, you like Bradley said, you got to shift your focus. And I think it kind of went from basketball to what's next. And I think we kind of all still sitting at home wondering, like, what's next? Nobody really knows, what's going on. And, we just kind of right now trying to do what we're told. But, I have a team full of guys and, probably, I know that I'm probably going through a lot of the things that most coaches in America are going through. But, quite frankly, when you go to college, just, when you go to college, a lot of the times you leave home, you grow up, and, these kids don't want to necessarily be at home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm telling them, well, you can't come back here. What you want me to do? You know what I mean? So, we only have one kid that actually can come back. Jonathan. They obviously made the exception for the international students, and that's more so because I don't want him to go home because he was injured. So, trying to make sure that he gets the proper care. But, that's the first thing, like my friend, when they said they can't go back in the dorms, the first thing my freshman said was, Coach, I don't feel like being at home. I'm living on my own now, and I get it. But, right now you got to stay at home. You got to stay with your mother and father. So, that was a challenge at first, to be honest with you, but they finally, understood when other things started coming out and, just trying to, as Brad said, keep everybody safe, and, just making sure that everybody was going to be fine.
Sure, and I'll get into some of the other ramifications of this, kind of looking ahead to next season a little bit. But I want to go to the student athletes right now, and I'll start with Jahlil. Ja, you're part of a group of kids around the country who a lot of folks really feel for right now, and I'm talking about seniors, be it at the high school level or the college level, who saw your careers end because of this. And I think a lot of people empathize with you guys, having your career come to an end because of this COVID pandemic. Do you feel at all cheated by, having your season potentially cut short if there was to be a postseason for you guys?
Yeah, definitely. Being here for 3 years and not making the postseason the first 2 years and having the amazing season we had this year it was just like a letdown, disappointment to not to keep on playing as long as we could, as long as we wanted to play. So, especially for me being a senior, I ain't gonna ever get to put on that jersey again or play in Stockton again or just to have that atmosphere of college basketball, which is like second to none. So it was a disappointment, but I think after like the first 2 weeks, I let it go, and I just been watching highlights and stuff ever since.
So we've all been doing. I think we've been grasping whatever highlights or games we could get. I want to go over to Brooklyn now, and Brooklyn, you earned first team all conference honors too this season. I know you'll have another season and another shot to do that, and maybe get to a postseason next year. But when you left Vegas, did you still feel like there was more to do for you guys this year? I think she's muted.
I'll text her.
There we go.
Okay, hello? Can you hear me?
There we go. There
Okay. No, I was just saying, I definitely feel like we have more to do and more to play, especially for our seniors, Jess, Sophie, and Callie. I know they wanted to play more this season, and I was really let down when we lost in the tournament. So my main motivation, the same as last year, was playing for my teammates and prolonging our season as long as possible.
Coach Davis, can you reflect on how Brooklyn performed this year and what she meant to your team that did finish 3 games above 500, and you have a player here who finished first team all conference?
Yeah, the start that we had, in the season going into the preseason WNIT, she really settled us down and really got us going, and I think kind of put herself on notice and being on forward watch list and just terms of getting recognition for Pacific women's basketball, she kind of set us on that right path. And I think, as with most juniors, especially those that are first team all conference, people started throwing the kitchen sink at her defensively, and to watch her learn and adjust and really progress as the season goes on was fun and was special.
Jahlil, back to you. I want to give you a chance to have some personal closure with what you say next, but obviously you finished first team all conference. I thought you could have easily been player of the year. For my money, you were the MVP. I don't think anybody meant as much to their team as you did to Pacific, and I told you that at the end of the year in our last interview. You were also just named NABC District 9 second team, so congrats on that, more of a national honor. I saw so much growth in you personally and in your game this season. What are you going to remember most about your senior year at Pacific?
Just all the adversity that we hit and how we overcame it, and how like my first 2 years we like would crumble in those type of situations. So just how this team has grown like from the first game to the last game. Like we had a lot of games that could have been nipped and tucked, but we fought it out and we played our heart out, and we won a lot of those games that we usually probably wouldn't have won. So I think that's probably the most gratifying thing that came out like during this season for me and my team.
Looking back on your career, your growth academically, what do you attribute that growth academically from the time you started to, now through your senior year when you're going to graduate in a pretty good spot?
Definitely coming in, it was a little tough coming from junior college, and had a rough start my sophomore year, but I think I got the hang of it when I realized that like the books and class really translate to the court, and I think that was shown out there. Like when I really got it in the books and in school, like it transitioned for me on the court, and I started to play well and could like really focus because I wasn't too worried about getting good grades because I had those good grades already. So I think that was just like the biggest aspect for me, just making sure my grades are straight from the start. So that way in the ending, when I just wanted to worry about basketball, that's what it was about.
Coach Stoudamire, can you expand on that for Jahlil, both his growth as a player and as a person and a student athlete?
Well, as a player, I think that I probably had something to do with that because I moved him around a lot for the first couple of years. Where he played this year is the position that I recruited him as, but something would always happen, and I would always put him somewhere else. And I think that regardless of, I had told myself before the season started, regardless of, what happened, I was going to leave him kind of at the four, so having a mismatch problem, and get back to rebounding. And I think everybody's seen the stuff that, truthfully, he's always been able to do. So I was happy for him from that standpoint. The growth as a young man and academically, it kind of goes hand in hand. I don't think that we had to keep our hands on him when he first got here all the way like that, but I just think that you kind of figure everything out. And just like anybody coming to an academic institution like Pacific, it will be an adjustment. So I thought he did a great job. I know he graduates this summer, so I'm just proud of him. He helped move the needle on this program, in this program. He deserves a lot of success for that moving forward. I think that, for me, he'll go down as a guy in my coaching career as a guy that, I'll look to as somebody to help move the needle in my career with the things that he achieved.
We got a couple questions and comments, so we'll get to a lot of them here as we continue. But Jahlil, I want to give you a chance to hit back at AV, who said that you're gonna remember how great of a teammate he was. That's what you're gonna remember about your senior year. You wanna hit on that a little bit?
Yeah, AV, that was one of my roommates here at Brubeck. That's a good dude right there. I definitely remember AV. He always believed in me, especially like when I had like a little rough start up in Hawaii when I wasn't playing too well. He always told me that I had to be the one to lead us for us to get the season right, and I appreciated that a lot throughout the season. And AV was just a great teammate on and off the court, real responsible, and just one of those guys that you want in your team no matter what.
Love it. Coach Davis, I'll go to you now. I saw you guys beat Santa Clara in Vegas in the tournament. You lost to Portland, the eventual champion of the tournament on the women's side. Reflecting back on this season, what are some of the first things that jump out in your mind kind of on the whole this season for your squad? And I know you had to fight through a lot of injury problems toward the end of the season.
Well, honestly, the injury problems, you expect some of those, even though some are pretty heartbreaking this year. We had a number of off-the-floor things that are just uncontrollables, that aren't negatives towards any individual. They were just some of those uncontrollables that you have to deal with, and we have to deal with the human aspect of coaching. So there's the on the floor, there's the academic, and there's the human. When you have things like, our seniors' house burning down in November right before we're going on a road trip, and them going homeless and essentially possessionless for a little bit, it's just stuff you got to deal with throughout the year, and that was just one of those things. So the fact that our players and leadership like Brooklyn and Val and Jess and our seniors and Sophie and Callie, that they're all able to continually rally together, even through some disappointing stuff, was impressive. And I think it's something that they're going to learn from and grow from. And I know I, as a coach, have learned a lot from this year and grown a lot from it, even in, disappointing loss against Portland in the tournament, but, still, eats at you when you have this time just to sit at home. But overall, those are the things that I remember most about this season. And all that said, we've had some really good things and some good wins and some exciting stuff on the floor as well.
I'm going to ask both coaches this question, but Coach Davis, since you're rolling right now, I'll start with you. And I know this seems maybe a little bit trivial right now, but what's the protocol on recruiting for next season? I'd imagine the unknown is tough, like not knowing when you'll be able to not only get out there again, but to see live action again and potential recruits compete. But where are you guys right now with that?
Yeah, it's different. There really is no protocol right now because everything's an adjustment. The NCAA put a mandatory dead period through April 15th, which is a little bit longer than it usually. We missed a 3-week time where we could be doing home visits with some of our 2021 class. So we've had to get creative with doing basically like we're doing now, these virtual type home visits and presentations and things like that. It's forced us to be creative, which I think will be good for the future in terms of recruiting. We've got some new ideas and some new thoughts. But right now we're in a pretty good spot. We've been ahead of the game for our 2021 class, which is really the heavy part of who we're recruiting right now. And we've got some 2020s that we're looking at for possibly a late signing period as well. So we're in a good position even through this adjustment of trying to figure things out, and a lot of credit to our assistant coaches for getting creative with how to reach out and connect with young players.
Coach Stoudamire, same question to you, especially as it pertains to 2020. I mean, this is usually the time where you'd kind of be in the thick of it, I'd imagine. How do you get through it?
It's only changed a little bit. I mean, obviously because you can't go out, but we got 800 people in the transfer portal, and there are numerous grad transfers. So right now, I am trying to lock some grad transfers in. We got an 8-month marriage. What you want to do? That's all. Hey, that's how I look at it. You know what I mean? I think for me, staying older is good. I like my team. I like the youth, but I always say it, Zach, when I talk to you, like you got to stay old in this league, because if you don't stay old, you're gonna get your butts kicked. Like the top of the league is old. BYU, older team. Gonzaga, older team. Top 10 recruiting class. St. Mary's will reload. Santa Clara will be pretty good. San Francisco will be pretty good. You gotta stay locked and loaded. And so, with the success I had of Nnamdi Okonkwo a couple years ago, you had Austin, you had Gary, you had Shaquille. Feel like I got a blueprint on that. And, I like the older guys. They bring stability to the team. They know their roles. They understand their roles. And, in terms of high school guys, I signed 3 high school guys last year, Pierre, Danis, and then Jonathan, who will be eligible. And I'm looking forward to them coming back. So I don't know if I want to add a young player. I might wait till 21 to add some more freshmen. I just think that you got to stay old in this league. I don't think people understand how good of a league that we have from top to bottom.
That's interesting as far as staying old, and I think I can appreciate where you're coming from there. Coach Davis, if you wanted to bring in a younger player, do you have to kind of go off of what you've seen if you're trying to make that decision right now or even in a month from now?
Well, at this point in time, in terms of 2020 class, isn't the time to bring in freshmen truly. Most freshmen have already signed. We signed 2 early, and with Smith and Erica. And we're pretty fired up about them coming in. So they'll come in our 2020 class. And really, we only have 1 spot to fill. And in that, you're either looking for a transfer or grad transfer, as we've talked about, or an international player who's a little bit more mature, and they usually start getting recruited a little bit later. It's on the women's basketball side. So we're not looking to bring in a freshman for 2020. We are on a few for 2021, and like I've said, we've been a little bit ahead of the game there. And you're at this point, you're very familiar with the juniors in high school and what they're doing and how they're playing, and so missing out on a little bit of spring basketball, that's not going to be the end of the world. We've got pretty good evaluation going on that 2021 class.
Going to go back to the student athletes here in just a second, but want to remind everybody, if you click on the chat button, you can ask a question. We're going to try and leave the last 15 minutes or so for some questions and comments. If you want to jump in and join the conversation, you could get in there and get a question or comment, and we'll try and get to it as we wind down. I want to go back, as I said, to the student athletes, and I'll start with Brooklyn. And I'm going to ask the same thing to Jahlil. But Brooklyn, how are you staying in shape right now? And you're obviously coming back next year, so you want to stay in shape. But how do you go about doing that when you should be, I guess, just quarantined? I guess maybe in Hawaii it's a little bit easier, right? You can kind of get out and run a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. In LA, there's more restrictions. That's where we usually live. But I run up and down our hill. Like we live on top of a hill, so I can run up and down the hill. And then I also I have a bike out here, so I go on my bike. And I've been doing the workouts Joey sent me. So yeah, I've been doing those every morning. That's mainly all I do.
Are those like body weight workouts? I assume you don't need a lot of weights for those, right?
Yeah, you don't need a lot of weights. My dad's wife is a personal trainer, so I have some stuff from her too as well here. So we do stuff in the morning.
Nice. Jahlil, how about you?
Coach Joey sent us a nice workout every week and everything like that. But I've been just running around the neighborhood basically. Can't really go to no gym or anything, so I just been jogging. I got my Apple Watch to track my steps and stuff like that. So. And I just been doing the home workouts that Coach Joey gave us, and just basically making sure I just stay on top of that type of stuff right there, and just watching film.
Coach Stoudamire, is this the longest you've not been able to go to a gym in your life? The longest you've had to stay away?
Yeah. It's the longest. But you know me now. I'm gonna find a way now.
I know.
There's some different things I've done, and but yes, this is weird. This is weird territory for me. Like, I'm usually cranky when I don't get a workout. Some people are cranky about coffee. I'm cranky about not working out. So it's been a little difficult for me, but I'll figure it out.
I'm well aware of your crankiness when it comes to that. Coach Davis, you want to jump in on this at all? You doing like body squats over there or lunges?
Yeah, no. Brooklyn's laughing right now. I love it. No, I actually have discovered we back up to the Calaveras River right my house over here. So I've discovered the levee pathway out back, which is kind of nice, and been out there every single day since then. You just got to get out of the house and do something. So
yeah,
for me, it's just been a walk with the dog and then just trying to stay active. And I've taken up much to my wife's chagrin, different projects around the house. So I've already destroyed a buffet in the house and I'm working on a wall now, so we'll see what happens.
Nice. Now you have to keep us posted on that. Yeah, I can't walk my dogs enough. I do like a 30-minute Orange Theory workout every day, and then like just walking the dogs consistently like 4 miles a day. It's been different.
Yep.
Jahlil, what's next for you? I'd imagine now you're going to transition to being a professional. What's that process kind of been like, and what's it been like under these circumstances?
Well, throughout the year, I was getting like calls and stuff from agents and everything like that, and I just told them to wait until the season was over and see how far we could go in the postseason. But once that got canceled and stuff, I try to set up a bunch of interviews. But as you know, the coronavirus got everybody staying socially distant, so I haven't really got to meet too many agents in person. So that's the process I'm in right now, just talking to agents and trying to find somebody that's gonna work for me and help me get to the right place where I want to be in my career. So that's what I've been doing as of late.
I know overseas might be an option for you. Is there any apprehension the way things are right now about, even if it's in a couple months, traveling overseas and then traveling to different countries, if it comes to that?
Yeah, we might have to hold off on that just for a little bit. But wherever my career takes me, though, I don't got no problem going overseas as long as I'll be able to be safe and stay healthy and everything like that. I'll be fine. overseas or the NBA. So.
I love it. And good luck to you, by the way. I know it's got to be a bit different at this point, the way things are shaking out. But good luck with whatever your next step is, and just know that you're going to have a lot of people following and cheering you on along the way. Let's go to a couple of actually, you know what? Before we do that, I want to ask Brooklyn, what's next for you? I know you're coming back hopefully for your senior year, but what's next in terms of goals that you might have for what's to come for the women's team next year?
Some goals I would have would be for us to like be able to like a fighting team, like to stick it out when games are not going our way. And we like how Jahl was talking about how their team improved on that. I've seen it myself. I want our team to improve in the same way. I also want to make it far in post conference. You know, not even make it far. I want to win it. So it's my last year to do that. So we got to make that happen.
All right, I'm going to go to a couple of questions and comments from our audience right now. And I think this is coming from Mike Clockey, the question here for Damon or Jahlil. I'm actually going to direct it to Jahlil, and then I'll have Coach Stoudamire finish it. The 4 overtime win versus St. Mary's was even draining for spectators. It was draining for the guy that called it on the radio, too. It was draining, and it was special, though. Jahlil, what are you going to remember from that win, and how did that game and that win set you up for the run that you guys had in conference in January and February?
There was a lot of things to remember from that game. A lot of moments where it was just either way, but I think definitely Gary's shot. I think that just sticks out a lot that he hit. And I'll just say the battle that me and Jordan Ford had throughout the whole game was just cool to have one of those type of battles with like one of the best players in the country. I feel like I think that'll be like one of my great memories to take with me as I move forward.
Coach Stoudamire, what are you going to take away from that game, and how do you think that game impacted the way the season turned out for you guys with 23 wins?
That game was, for me, I mean, it was big for our team. It was really big to win. It wasn't big to be in the 4 overtime game because if you remember, I think we were in a 3 overtime against Boise, maybe.
Mm-hmm. 3.
We lost. So to actually win and get over that hump, like that was big for the guys. Gary's shot was big, you know, but it was just, you know, a tit for tat game. You know, Jahlil and Jordan Ford, you know, just kind of going, although they're not guarding each other, but just going back and forth. And it was just one of those things, man, guys fouling out. And, you know, what I can just remember at times during the game, I was like, man, we got more depth than them. I hope this depth, you know, win it. But, you know, in terms of coaching for me, no particular order because both of them was really good games. But this game for me was in terms of, you know, the intense being, well, actually 3 games, the intenseness of the game. When I was an assistant at Arizona, we played Michigan and Ann Arbor. And it was when we had Aaron Gordon, T.J. McConnell, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, you know, Nick Johnson. We had all these pros. They had Karis LeVert, Nick Stauskas, Glenn Robinson III. I think it was Trey. Wasn't it Trey? Like, and that game was tit for tat. And it was one of them games where, you know, just like the St. Mary's game, as a coach, you sitting up there just saying, like, coach looking at me as an assistant. He's saying, what can you do? Nothing. Whoever get the ball last going to win this game. That's what it felt like, you know, and that's how the St. Mary's game, you know, it felt. And, you know, like I said, to come out with the victory, it was draining, but it was rewarding. And I think that it set us up for what was to come for the rest of the conference.
Yeah, I will certainly never forget it. I got another one here for the men's team from Bryn Peterson, and I think I saw Coach Wicks on here. He'll be happy we're asking this question because this was his scout. How was the men's team able to play such great defense against USF during the first half of the game in San Francisco? I think in that game, I think they had 13 points or 16 points at the end of the half. I know for the game, I think USF went 3 of 24 from beyond the arc. It was some of the best defense I've ever seen. Do you want to speak to that, Coach Stoudamire?
I can't take any credit for that because they came back and smacked us about 20. But no, it was no, seriously, it was a that was about as good a defensive half as I've ever been around. To hold USF to what we did. I think they ended up shooting 3 for 24 from the 3-point line that game, but it was, we did everything right. We guarded the 3, we took things away. Guys played hard. Hamp dove on the ground for a ball, for a 50-50 ball. So it was just one of those halves. The whole USF to 13 points and a half. That was something else.
Jahlil, what do you remember about that game? What do you take away from that game? It was a game, by the way, Pacific won, and they hadn't won at USF since 2007. So it was a big win in terms of the context and then how you guys did it too.
Definitely. I had 20 rebounds, so that's probably the biggest takeaway I'm gonna take from it. For personally, that's the most rebounds I ever had in the game, and just to do it at USF and to beat them, knowing I've been here for 2 years and we have been able to beat them. And that's one of the teams that we felt like we needed to beat this year. Especially me being a returner and the coaching staff as well. Like, we dropped one at home to them when we felt like we should have won, and then we was able to get them at their house, which was really gratifying. I know, like you said, Coach Vicks loved that win, and we really did it for him as well, besides ourselves, and just to get the game now felt. But yeah.
I want to stick with the student athletes, and I want to go to Brooklyn. And I see Sophie Triggerson sitting there with AV too. So I want to give a shout out to Sophie. I know you guys had to overcome a lot in terms of injuries on the court this year. You guys still finished with a record that was above 500, I think, by most measurements. You guys had a successful season despite the challenges. What's the key to kind of grinding through a season like the one you guys had and coming out with a winning record?
I would say the key to grinding out a season like that is relying on your leadership, like the people on your team, like player leadership first, and knowing I can lean on Valerie or Sophie, or even Jess, even when she wasn't playing, and to motivate me during the season. So I think that's one of the most important things to grind on a season like that.
Coach Davis, can you expand on that a little bit?
I think she hit the nail on the head. It comes down to the players. I think there was, and I've been kind of at the end of the season, obviously you do just a season review, and I think there were a lot of times where on an individual level I was having to deal with one thing or the next, and our senior leadership and our player leadership this year was really what pulled everybody through, and we're able to, after a disappointment, and whether it's injury or a loss, we're able to pull us back to something successful.
I have a question from Jim Degoni. And I guess this is a question for LP. This is for Leonard Perry, but he's not able to speak on this right now. He might be watching, but Coach Stoudamire, I defer to you. Do you know what the schedule is looking like at all for next year? Is there anything scheduled for next year? Any roadmap?
No, I mean, we got the games, but it's trying to figure the schedule out right now. But it's scheduling is difficult. I don't really feel like sometimes people understand how difficult scheduling is, but we'll figure it out. And we always try to start in and then start out. So that's kind of what we're looking for. In this schedule also.
How about you, Bradley?
We have a few of the return games. So some of the teams that we played last year, in terms of on the road, Bakersfield is coming to us, and vice, things like that. We're hoping to lock down a tournament right before Christmas. That contract hasn't been signed yet, so I'm not going to jinx anything there. But that should be a good one for the players, a good one competitively as well. And we've pretty much locked in. We're waiting on some contracts to come back for our Thanksgiving tournament as well. So fortunately, this year we will have many more home games in the preseason. I think we'll actually play at home during the month of December. So that part is the one thing we're happy about.
It's kind of both weird and nice sitting here and seeing everybody gathered together. It's like the first gathering, albeit virtually, that I think a lot of us have had in a while. With that being said, we're all kind of sitting here in quarantine, and I'll start with you, Coach Davis. How are you communicating right now with your student athletes and with your staff?
We've started off just in terms of everybody was really scattered. So those that were here, we've tried to have kind of 6 feet conversations. And those that were here and then took off kind of after we've heard all the news, we tried to at least have that conversation and a quick kind of air hug goodbye if we can do that. But the rest, we've been through email, just trying to update the calendar as quickly and as often as possible because things change all the time. And then just via phone, and consider doing something like this down the line in terms of getting everybody on via video and just check in as once we have more. I think after April 15th, we know a little bit more about how we're proceeding and what's going on, and we can kind of come together via video.
Damon, how about you? I'd imagine it's been kind of the same.
Yeah, it's been the same. Texting. Coaches have came by my house. We all live around each other, so they've come by the house. We've talked. It's crazy as it's time. You've been around the Zack. The moment they said Corona, we was giving the elbow a long time ago. We was giving the elbow huddles and doing that for a long time, and other than that, that's been it. Via text with the players and the guys. And like I said, the one thing about it, this is, I guess, honesty is a key. You have myself, you have staff of 3. We kind of got core player groups of guys that are like locked into 4 guys individually on each team. And I always say this, when I became the head coach, Bradley's probably saying nobody calls me, nobody wants to talk to the head coach. So I hear everything through the assistants. I'm pretty sure they talk to players way more than I do. But when the players want something, then they'll call me. You know what I mean? So Pierre called me and asked what was really going on with the school because he wanted to come back, and he just wanted to hear from my mouth and sound like, no, you can't come back. You know what I mean? So that's how it usually goes. So, I've been texting with the guys though, and I don't know if they're still on here, but AV, him and Sophie, they running around here on National Lampoon Spring Break. They driving around the country. They ducking off and stopping in Arizona for 3-4 days and hanging out and all that stuff. We supposed to be self-quarantining. They're out there, seniors, just having a good old time, huh? Just
self-quarantining in the car across country.
I love it. I got a question here from Chris Rishwain, and it's a really good question. And I think, Jahlil, this speaks to how much you meant to the resurgence of this program. I think a lot of us are concerned how you'll be replaced, and that's a problem that I'm not envious that our coaches have. But Jahlil, this is for you. What would you tell potential recruits about why Pacific would be a good school to attend and a good school to play basketball at?
Well, I always tell all the guys that have been recruited here, because most of them, I got them to commit. Like, I'm the guy since I got here. I'm the best recruiter we got. But I just always tell the guys, like, look, this is a place where you're going to be welcome as a family. It's going to feel like a family. We're not none of the big universities. I always tell them that from the start. We're not in a big city or anything like that. So don't expect none of that stuff. But if you're really worrying about basketball and your books, then this is definitely one of the places for you. And we got, like, the best coaching staff, I feel like, in the country to help develop the game. And just not even just on the court, off the court, to just make sure you're a better man once you leave here. I think they do a great job of that. And I think you've seen that with a lot of the guys that have came through this program with Coach Stoudamire being here. So that's mainly what I tell the guys, and just let them know, like, why wouldn't you want to come here? It's California. One of the reasons why I picked it. even though it ain't sunny all the time. But it's just one of the spots where it's like, all right, it's real low key and smooth and nice. And I just think it's a nice school for somebody to come to get a good experience in college basketball and college itself. Like he said, to challenge you academically, which is a good thing. Although it might start out rough, you'll leave here with a good degree and have a lot of connections, because the school does help you have a lot of connections once you leave here. So that's another thing that I'll take once I'm going.
Another question for you, Jahlil, from Douglas. Have any NBA teams expressed interest in adding you to any pre-draft workouts?
I haven't talked to any of them specifically. Maybe the coaches. I know Coach Perry spoke to me about the Pacers guy that was up in Vegas. CP told me about the Jazz or the Memphis guy that was in our hotel up in Vegas as well. So not me personally. Maybe the coaches. We just haven't really spoke about that yet, because we just figure out the agent process first to get that started, and everything else will fall into place after that.
I'll go over to Brooklyn. Oh, sorry, Coach. Go ahead. Sorry, Damon.
I can probably talk to that. The thing about it with people, and this kind of sucks for Jahlil, but what happened was, with everything that's going on, it kind of killed the process of how this works. So, we have been trying to, when I say we, myself, I'm talking to some people trying to get them in the Portsmouth Invitational. So Portsmouth is a senior-only camp that they have, where a bunch of NBA people are there. But see, they don't have none of that this year. They've canceled all of that, and so it's really going to put guys behind the eight ball. So, they won't have Chicago, so they won't have the pre-draft camp. So it's not going to be a whole lot of working out from that standpoint. So, truthfully, I think that could help Jahlil in a lot of different ways. It's going to be an eye test, and you're going to see a lot of NBA guys that had to do their homework. A lot of guys you can see get fired this year because you're not going to be able to do the same things that you did. So a lot of guys are going to have to pass an eye test, and are going to have a body of work to kind of get in there, as opposed to going up in there how it usually is, where you can work out for a team, you can work out for a guy. And I think that not only with Jahlil, I think that's going to hurt several of the players that's in the WCC, quite frankly. So it's unfortunate, but it happens. But I think that the body of work that Jahlil has, I think, will give him an opportunity. For instance, if they do have, if he was to go undrafted or something like that, and they do have a summer league down in Vegas, he can get on a team, and then he can start to do what he needs to do from there. But I think he has a ceiling. But I think that he'll definitely get an opportunity and a chance to showcase his skill. But unfortunately, with everything that happened, I think it threw everybody off. It'll be interesting. This is probably, the truth be told, is if you're keeping up at home, this is probably the least amount of guys that has declared for the draft at this point ever, because nobody knows. You can't put yourself out there because you don't got the information like you used to could get.
I wanted to go to Brooklyn. Brooklyn, what are you most looking forward to about next season, outside of not having to quarantine yourself, hopefully, and we can get out there again? But what are you most looking forward to as it pertains to basketball next year?
I don't know anything else but winning. Yes, I feel like that's the only thing I'm looking forward to, really. Team dynamics too, getting to know my new teammates. We have a couple of freshmen coming in. But yeah, I just want to win this year. I don't know anything else to say about that.
Do you have a time frame when you're going to be able to come back from Hawaii?
That's up in the air right now, because I'm really been trying to leave. If I need to go train, that's why I called my coach yesterday. I called Bradley. I need to go train some basketball courts. I haven't touched the ball in a week. So I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna make that work. Probably by the end of the month, but we'll see how this escalates, because LA is way worse than Hawaii. Mm-hmm. So it might be smarter to stay out here.
Coach Davis, logistically, can you speak to that and what it's like to have to deal with what's going on with Brooklyn right now?
I don't think she's not unique in that, most places where our players are, gyms are closed, and leadership is suggesting not to go to those kind of places. And if you just think about where we are and UOP is closed down and they don't want folks in there. So it's about trying to find those places and trying to make connections with people that we know over in Hawaii as to what's open and what we can try to find and get her into. So we're going to start doing that without encouraging anybody to go against what, our leadership in this country and state and other states are telling us to do and not to do.
We'll wrap it up with one more from Jahlil and for Damon. Ja, what are you most looking forward to now as you continue your hoop journey?
Just playing professionally. It's been a dream of mine since I was young, and now it's just that much closer, even though it ain't right there since all this stuff is going on. But I think it's just going to be a surreal moment when I get to play professionally, and I'll be really, really, really happy never to have to do an essay again or doing homework, because that's annoying. But, yeah, just being able to focus on basketball and focus on my craft and just to see what type of player I could become while just focusing strictly on basketball and no schoolwork. I think that's probably the most gratifying thing I'm about to look forward to.
We look forward to watching you, and I think the one word that I would use to summarize the way everybody feels about you that's been around Pacific is gratitude. I mean, you look at a lot of the things that have been written just in this chat and with people that I've talked to, and everybody's grateful for what you brought to Pacific and what you left and how you left the program way better than when it was when you started. Obviously, a credit to Coach Stoudamire and the staff too, but you need guys like you on the floor to make it happen. So I think I want to express and channel everybody's gratitude towards you and give you a chance to respond to that before we let you go.
I've just been real thankful for all the support and love that I got since I got to Pacific. It's probably been the best experience I had in my life. Definitely going to be a place where I could definitely call probably my second home, and definitely I will always come back. Always come back to kick it with Coach Stoudamire and the team, and kick it with you guys, and just feel like family atmosphere again, just being around Pacific. I feel like I did leave my mark, and I'm glad I did. That was one of the reasons that I came here. When Coach Stoudamire recruited me, he told me that I'll have a chance to help change the program around, and I think we've done that, and I think he's going to do a great job with the team that he has and the players coming in and the coaching staff on continuing that and just moving the needle to just be in that program that he knows that he can get this school to be. And I'm proud to be a part of the stopping grounds and one of the stepping stones towards that. And I wouldn't be able to do it without them, my teammates, and definitely the fans and all the support staff and the donors that helped me along the way. So appreciate everybody that's viewing this, and even the ones that's not. I send my love out to everybody.
I want to give a shout out to AV Austin Vereen and to Sophie Triggetson here too. I see them both in the chat, and you guys are awesome too, and a big part of what went on last year and the success of both programs. So thank you guys too.
Ask them where they at. Where they at now?
I don't know. We can't hear. Maybe they could type it in. They could go to the chat and let us know. They look comfortable. Oh, South Carolina, coach. South Carolina.
How's that?
Coach Stoudamire, I'll give you the last word. What's next for your program, and how do you kind of move forward, not only from last season, but now from this challenging time that we're all facing, and how do you continue to build despite the limitations right now?
You keep building. Phone calls are getting a little easier. We have to replace, Jahlil. We know we got to replace the other 3 seniors. So we got really good players that I feel like we got replaced. But this is the first time actually since I've taken the job where we got a nucleus. We do have a nucleus coming back though. I'm excited about Dana's. I think that, I'm looking for him to make a jump. Excited about Jahlil, looking for him to make a jump, and so, I'm excited about Jonathan being healthy, getting him right, because a lot of people don't know about him. And, Jahlil, I think he would say it in those practices that he was healthy. Other than Jahlil, they got all the rebounds. They did. They got all the rebounds. So I'm excited to see him healthy. and everybody else I know, will grow. So, we'll just keep pushing the needle. It's crazy. I remember this. I remember it because you grow with guys. So when I was at Arizona, as crazy as it sounds, I left and I think I was player of the year, first team All-American, all that stuff. And they actually had a better team when I left. So I love Jahlil to death, and he's done a great job. But we're trying to, figure out, can we at least sustain what we're doing? And he did a great job of I think giving us the base and showing guys the way. So now hopefully we can just keep pushing that needle. That's all you can do, and that's what I look forward to. It's almost like I look forward to not necessarily trying to duplicate, but I look forward to the consistency of trying to win. It's the consistency for me. Like, this is a special year and this is a category of its own, but I'm looking for the consistency. That to me, long-term, big picture is what I want. I want to be consistent in doing this.
Well, hey, this has been really fun. I think we're going to try and do this more often, especially while we're under these circumstances. A reminder that if you're here and if you're part of the PAF and if you're not, these kids and student athletes and the coaches still need your support despite the fact that we're not all together. So you can visit pacifictigers.com and figure out how you want to go about supporting athletics at Pacific. Also, there's going to be a poll that's put up at the end of this. I know Bree is doing that, so feel free to please fill out the poll at the end of this. And I think that is it. I just want to wish you all good health, and we'll keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully there's the poll. Hopefully we all see each other again in person soon. But to the coaches, student athletes, thank you guys. To you all, thank you for being here, and we'll chat with you next time. Thanks, guys.